And we're live. Hello, no one. If you guys are watching this video sometime in the future, if you're rewatching this, we're going to be talking about a handful of ways you can use AI in the website publishing world. I think it's going to be pretty hard to get away from this topic, but I think it'll be one that is really exciting to talk about. It's only going to make our lives easier. It's only going to make us more productive. It's only going to make us smarter. So I think instead of talking about the limitations and maybe the possible issues that AI might bring us, I'd like to just take on the perspective of using AI to help us instead of hurting us. So that's kind of been my focus in some of the ones in the past. I think there's just a lot more and more things coming out that are really exciting. I think Zoic has a lot of AI features that don't get utilized as well as they could. But yeah, I'll just wait and give everyone at least 5 to 10 minutes, probably 5 minutes to kind of gather their bearings. Simon's in here. Simon Hartley says hello. What's up, Simon? I don't think we've met before. So as you can see my name in the bottom corner, I'll probably introduce myself 3 more times, but my name is Charlie. I'm from the Zoic Access Now program. Um, my job with our team is technically to do whatever I can in my ability to help you guys do better. So whether that's taking feedback you guys give us, reaching out for feedback, doing technical implementation on your guys' setups, debugging, troubleshooting, customer support, honestly anything like that. Even doing like data research to figure out if maybe certain settings or configurations work better than others, so that way I can bring that information to you guys. And kind of part of that is me also just doing these live streams, so I can talk about the things that Azoic's doing, the different areas and directions we're going. But also just gives me a chance to kind of connect with you guys, which is my favorite part because you know we can obviously sit behind a keyboard all day and talk on support and random things, but our entire Access Now team is real people, and really nice ones for that, to be honest. We have a great team here, so it's a nice time for us to just connect on a personal level. Um, so Val, if it's okay if I call you that, says hi. Please, I need ads for my website subscribers users. So what I think you could be asking here is that maybe you have users on your pages that actually log in, and once they log into a page, then they might not be seeing ads. If that's the case, Val, if I understand you correctly, what you can actually do is just reach out to us in the community, and just say, hey, I have pages where users will actually log in, and when the users log in, they don't get ads showing for them. And again, if I'm understanding you correctly, just let us know that, and then we can go through. All we'll need is basically like a guest login for your domain, so that way we can just verify and check the content once users log in or subscribe. And once that's done, we can basically just enable the ads for the users once they log in. So if that is like a private access to a couple pages, that's totally fine. I think there's a lot of use cases for that, and I've seen it, implemented, you know, pretty well a handful of times. So if that's your case, Val, reach out to us in the community. I'll drop the link for you so you know where to reach out to us at least. But if I'm not understanding you correctly, Val, please just let me know, and I can kind of circle back on that. But let me post a link to the community right there. I think we have Harry and Ethan in there right now, which are two of our star players from the UK. If you guys are not familiar with kind of how our team and how Azoic's kind of laid out, is we have a couple main office or headquarters. One being in Carlsbad, California, which is where I'm at right now. And then we also have a team over in the UK. We have Imogen, Ethan, and Harry over there. The reason why that's kind of nice is because if you guys ever need help, and let's say you're in Europe, Africa, or the Middle East, or anywhere over there, the UK will kind of have a healthy overlap of hours where you guys can kind of troubleshoot and work on things together. And then maybe if you are in the UK or Ireland or anywhere over there, or farther west. We do have the team over here on Carlsbad, so we can work with you during the day. That's why it's kind of nice to have those things kind of laid out. Normally, before we just had that last daylight savings, it was quite literally where the UK would finish at 5 p.m. their time, and that would be 9 a.m. for us. So that was a pretty perfect overlap. But right now, as you guys know, with daylight savings, we sprung forward, lost an hour. So now we have actually an hour of overlap between, which is really nice because then we can use that hour to communicate, and the UK team doesn't have to wait long, or we don't have to get up early. But the UK team does normally stay late for us. So cheers to them if they ever hear that. They're the team player in that scenario, which is really nice of them. Samuel says, hello, guys. What's up, Sam? Or Samuel, whichever you would prefer. I don't think I've seen any of the faces in here before. Yang also says, hello, Charlie. Yang, I think we actually have spoke before. Raman says, hello, how are you, Charlie? I'm doing well, actually. I appreciate you asking. That is really nice of you. We normally do these live streams around 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, which is a little bit later for some of you guys if you're not in the U.S. So I thought maybe I would just start one a little bit earlier to see if it's better timing for you all. Oh, from Bangladesh, that's awesome. But I'm doing well. It's actually my birthday tomorrow, which is kind of exciting. Shout out myself. But yeah, I won't be working tomorrow, which is exciting. But yeah, so I'm doing well. I appreciate you asking. And how are you guys all doing? Hopefully well. I mean, we're almost on Friday. For you guys, if you're not in the US, you're closer to Friday than we are, which is super exciting. But yeah, again, for those of you guys that started a little bit later, one of the things that we're going to be talking about is how to use AI for your website publishing journey. As Zoic has basically been building out features since basically the beginning of their time. That's what the ad tester is. We're definitely going to talk about that. I also want to talk about how to use this correctly and actually implement it correctly. Whether you want a ton of ads showing, a little bit of ads showing, yeah, we can go through that. There's also a couple other ones that have been around that have been, I don't think that have been used quite as well as they could. We're going to talk about the title tag tester and specifically. But yeah, I just want to give maybe like 2 or 3 more minutes for people to join in, and then we could basically go along that. But I'm curious, what AI technologies have you guys been using, either both through the Zoic platform or outside of it? I know a majority of us are probably using ChatGPT. We can talk about that, especially with ChatGPT 4 coming out. We want to talk about the Google. I'm about to sneeze. The Google algorithm update that was been released in March. But yeah, I'm curious what you guys have been using. I know a lot of people have been talking about SEO efforts with ChatGPT, which is really exciting. I think there's a lot of potential with creating tools for your sites. Let's say you're an insurance company, maybe you can create some tools or some calculator type tools to go off maybe certain interest percentages with the economy right now. Yeah, so you guys can also ask questions in the comment box or in the comment section as you guys have been doing already, and I'll be more than happy to go through there. All questions are good questions. There's no such thing as a bad question in these live streams. You can say, hey, Charlie, what is an H1? What's a meta tag? What is SEO? What's a placeholder? You guys can absolutely ask any questions at all. You guys are already asking some good ones in the comment section, but I encourage you guys to ask absolutely whatever. You can say, what is cache? How do I clear my cache? There's nothing's off limits for these live streams. We very much so want to take on like a learning type school like environment. So yeah, no questions are bad questions. I'm happy to answer absolutely anything. MD, that's a really good question. So you guys do have some really good questions coming through, and keep asking them. Honestly, you guys are more than welcome to kind of take charge on a lot of these questions and kind of the direction we're going in. But yeah, absolutely. Hayden, so we can do stuff like that as well. We can talk about technical implementation. We can talk about AI products, both inside of and outside of Zoic. We can also talk about EPMVs. So Hayden, I'd be happy to take a look at this. But if you want me to actually go through and take a look at your domain specifically, could you just let me know that, can you let me know what your domain is, first of all? And then second of all, would it be okay if I were to share my screen and maybe go through some of your actual pages and your dashboard as well publicly, so I can kind of show you guys how I work with the software and work with the platform? Um, if not, that's totally okay. Just say, hey, Charlie, can you pull up a test site and maybe go through some of those things that you would look for? Of course, I can do that as well. I just thought, if you want me to actually look at your domain specifically, Hayden, um, I can do that, so I can actually maybe give you a better answer. There's a couple things we can look for. There was actually a bug recently that I can even look for and see if it actually applied to you as well. But yeah, if you're seeing a low APMB, I'd be happy to go into some of those things. All right, I'm going to start answering some of these questions, and then we'll kind of go from there. So cool. So Val, I answered your question. Yang, hello to you as well. Samuel says hello, guys. That's to all of you. Raman says, how are you? Oh, from Bangladesh. That's right. Technical update says, hi, Charlie, and happy birthday in advance. I really appreciate that. That's really, really nice of you guys. Chinaka says also, happy B-Day, Charlie. Um, happy birthday, bro, in advance. Yeah, I really do. So I know my birthday is not tomorrow, or is not today, but I do really like doing this. I wouldn't even mind doing this on my birthday. I think, me running my mouth and talking to you guys and kind of, having this sort of interaction with you guys is really enjoyable for me. So I do love doing this. So thank you guys is what I'm trying to say. Thank you guys for also showing up. I really, really appreciate it. Technology updates ask, this is a really good question. Could you please tell us when other websites, I'll highlight it for you, no English content, to be able to join multiple levels of Azoic? Thank you. So we have been rolling out the levels dashboard. If you guys are unfamiliar with it, I'll be happy to show you what it looks like in another dashboard. But we're basically been rolling it out for English speaking publishers just at first, because we don't have a proper translator or kind of a process set in place to actually do it in other languages. Like, Arabic would be a really good one for the platform because we have a ton of publishers all over there. Spanish obviously is a massive market. Italian, German, French. Those are all kind of translations we'll be going to. But if you do speak, good English and you want the levels dashboard, you can actually open up, a thread in the community and let us know, and we can enable the levels dashboard for you, knowing that you guys can speak English. But we are working on the translations. It's been a project for a handful of things for a while now. So hopefully we can make some leadway in that. So can I use ChatGPT for making Flickify video without human touch? So really good alley-oop to something that I wanted to talk about. But to answer your question 100% directly right now, is we cannot yet without human touch per se. But what we can do is we did kind of create a good middle step of that right now. So for Flickify, we actually have a talk to text type of feature that we've built out through one of OpenAI's products. So basically now what you can do is you can create like a voiceover similar to how people commonly do on TikTok. So let's say I created a TikTok and it was 30 seconds long, but let's say I didn't want to use the original audio of the video I took. I could basically mute the actual audio or just lower the volume, and then I can speak over top of it with my actual voice into a microphone, if it was way later or if I pre-recorded that. So you can do that with Flickify now. But the cool part is with Flickify now is you can actually create a video using the talk to text. So if I were to say like, hey Flickify, create me a video on the Porsche 911 964, then it can actually create me a video, and then it can actually use my voiceover or whatever I say to create or to convert my talk into text, which will then be the actual slides. So without human interaction or human touch per se, no, but we are one step closer, and that we are going to be moving in that direction of being like the no human touch for Flickify. I think that's one of the best potentials. I also want to talk about Humix because that's probably something that we're even underutilizing even more. So if you guys want me to talk about Humix, I'll be more than happy to go on a rant, because if we're going to be talking about Flickify, I think it's only appropriate if we talk about Humix. It actually looks like you were asking some questions about that right here, so we can go into that as well. But great question, honestly. Simon says it's raining over there in the UK. Same in Carlsbad. It's actually not right now. I don't know if you guys can see through there. Maybe if it focus up now, you can't really see. Hopefully I didn't mess up that angle too bad. It's not raining in Carlsbad right now. Sorry if that was really annoying. Please don't fall on me. It's not raining in Carlsbad right now, but the past 2 weeks or 3 weeks, or basically the entire winter, it's been raining on us so much. Obviously, we live in practically a desert. We've gotten more rain this winter than Seattle in total, which is insane. It's good for us, yeah, or we needed it, yeah, but technically now we're all overflowing with water. One of the best things is that everything is so green here, which is so weird. Grass is green, flowers are blooming like crazy. Cars are covered in pollen when it's dry. But no, it's not raining right now. It was raining yesterday and the day before. It was a little wet this morning, but I think it should be dry for the weekend, which is really exciting. Hi, Charlie. I know we were talking about AI today, but was curious if we could look at my EPMV. It is super low to the traffic location. Was hoping to get some advice on what to do. P.S. Happy birthday. Yes, so Hayden, I would be more than happy to look into this, give it a good deep dive. If you want me to troubleshoot your domain specifically again, just comment your domain down in the comment section, and I can pull it up and take a look at it. If you want me to share my screen and go through that with everyone, just let me know if that's okay, and I'll be more than happy to do that as well. But yeah, I'll be happy to look into this. The first things I'll look into to see if there's any objectionable content. So basically, if there's any reason for ads not to show on pages, that's a major one. We can see if there's any broken links. That'll be a major one. I want to definitely check out your placeholder setup. Make sure your consent management is set up for everything, and then kind of go from there. We can go over recent changes. Maybe the certain CMS you're using might be in play. Maybe the theme. But yeah, we'd be more than happy to go into that. Can I use WP Rocket and a Zoic plugin at the same time? Yes, you can. You can absolutely use WP Rocket. But I will say, if you're also using Leap, I wouldn't use both. For example, Zoic has its own caching app, and if you're using Rocket Cache and a Zoic Cache, you might just run into some issues. So I would use either Rocket Cache or a Zoic Cache. Another common issue we see publishers use when they do use both is they use like the lazy loading images for WP Rocket, and they also use the lazy loading images through Leap. And when you do that, you might actually create more issues and not actually speed up site speed as you might intend. If Humix doesn't give much revenue, can I switch it off? Yeah, of course you can switch off Humix, but I would ask, why would you turn off Humix? Because it's not really taking away from anything else. It's not taking away from YouTube visits if you are showing on YouTube. It's not taking away from Facebook views or anything like that. It's definitely not taking revenue away that you could be making on your own pages. So you're kind of asking a question, hey, can I earn a little bit of revenue or nothing? And that little bit of revenue has no impact on anything else. So I'll say, yes, of course you can switch it off, but it does you no harm to keep it on. So I would suggest keeping it on. Again, because there's no downside to this. Tales from the Collection says, I appreciate how you guys are improving Niche IQ. Any idea of when or if it might get closer to being on par with Ahrefs or SEMrush? So because Niche IQ is a newer product, that is of course the end goal, and I think part of it is making the changes to the product that are most in line with what you guys actually want to use. So what are some of the features that you guys really like using with Ahrefs? What are some of the things you guys really use with SEMrush? And I think that's going to be our approach moving forward. So yeah, Niche IQ is getting better. We can talk about some of the limitations that I might think is, one of them being, long tail keywords. We kind of talked about that in the past. That's probably not one of the best things it's at. Sometimes if you don't have a ton of traffic or months of it, sometimes it can give you keywords or topics that are not 100% in line with your content. That's totally fine. I think that's just something that we need to point out, work on, improve with. But when, if you said if or when, well, if for sure, absolutely. That's one of our goals. It's we constantly want to make changes to kind of keep in line with the things that you guys need to do well. That's the main goal of Azoic. So that is, of course, the goal we're going to. We have an entire SEO team and a whole group of of engineers and developers working on building out that product. Not only building it out, but making it better than what it is now. So when you can expect changes to this product quite frequently and quite often. They're working on it right now. They've been working on it in the UK. So when, I can't tell you exactly, but I would just say keep your eye out for updates because we will constantly be improving and updating on it. But yeah, Tales from the Collection. I'd like to ask you, and I'll write it down. I have a pen and paper right here. What are some of the features that you use with other SEO products like SEMrush that Niche IQ does not have, and you think is absolutely essential, in order for it to be like considered for you to use? Because if something existed in SEMrush that was, the number one priority that you used it for, and that didn't exist in Niche IQ, I think that'd be pretty like a very understandable perspective to not use Niche IQ. So I'm curious what those products have that we don't, so we can work on that. Technology update says, sorry, Charlie, I think my question wasn't that clear. I meant when it's possible to no English website to be accepted in levels of Azoic. So I think if your website is not in English, has no English content, sorry for misunderstanding you. I think I got you now. If it has no English content, it's still going to be available for Levels dashboard. It's more about the language that you speak as a publisher. But yeah, I think we have tons of sites that are straight Arabic, or we have French sites, or we have Spanish sites that also are in Levels. So yeah, that should be available for you, unless I'm crazy, which that is a possibility for sure. Let me see. There's nothing that I have up on it right now, but that should be available for you. I'm just looking right now. If you do want to reach out to us in the community, we can make sure that that gets fixed for you. We can get that updated in your Levels dash for you. Cool. So I want to make sure that everything looks good on this side. Everything does. So that's awesome. So yeah, with no English content, that's totally fine. You can still get the Levels dashboard. Just reach out to us. I'm actually going to give you guys my email in case you guys need anything and say, hey, I have to jump off, but I wanted to ask you a question, or I need to jump off, but I want to get your thoughts or ideas on this. So I just put my email down in the comment section. So technology updates, if you also just want to email me at that email, let's see, stowever@gmail or at azoic.com. And I can reach out to our Levels team and say, hey, this publisher would like to get Levels enabled. Let's do that for them. And any of you guys are more than welcome to email me, and we can kind of work through that. Stuart asks, this is a good question. Why can't that guy just contact support instead of hijacking this whole live stream with this problem? I thought you meant that quite literally. He can go through and contact support. You guys are more than welcome to do that at the community. I can give you the link. But if you were saying why does he need to ask that question for all of us to hear? Because that's kind of how these live streams go. Publishers can come and ask questions. Of course, I'll have a direction with the stuff we want to talk about, but I'll be more than happy to also just keep this open to any questions and answers you guys might have. Because as you guys can see, sometimes I like to go through, answer the questions you guys ask, and then when I catch up, I like to talk about basically all the different forms of AI we can use. But Stuart, if there's an AI, if there's a certain technology that you've been using for your publishing journey, I'm curious to what it is. Of course, if it's ChatGPT 3 or if it's ChatGPT 4, I'm curious what it is. Question. Um, Question. What is the new Google rolls out March 2023 core algorithm update, and how does that impact us? So how does that impact you? That's a good question because we don't know exactly what the core algorithm update was specifically, but I would assume that some of the things that Google will be looking for is more like spam content, or sites that have no general niche. That's something they've been cracking down on a bit more recently. So like if your keyword, chasing for these high paying keywords, that's going to be something they'll probably take a hit on. Um, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see, how does it impact you? Sometimes it doesn't impact a publisher whatsoever. Sometimes their traffic might improve. Sometimes, publishers can have healthy, good content and their traffic can decrease. But again, it's kind of one of those things where we need to be a little bit more, reactive. Of course, we want to be proactive with our content and with our efforts in that area. But how does it impact us? We never really fully know until it kind of happens, which is really annoying. But we do have, Zoic does have an article on this. It's not going to tell you a ton more than what I kind of just said, but at least you guys can see kind of the things we talk about because some of them are important. Sometimes it can talk about, what you can do in your power. Um, So Flickify is not working on my website language, Bengali. When will be able to use it in Bengali language? That is a good question, and I think with a lot of these new AI technologies coming out, this is something that we could potentially be working on a lot sooner rather than later. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna write this down so that way I can mention it to the team. Flickify for Bengali. And if you want to do me a favor, Robin, if you want to just send me an email so that way we can stay in touch on this, or if you want to just reach out in the community and we can kind of keep track of things there, we can do that. So I think Johnny, I think I like your icon picture. I cared this much. That's pretty great. Competition like their traffic. I'm pretty sure that this was in terms of my question with how can Niche IQ improve to kind of compete with SEMrush and other things. So if that was it, then I'd be more than happy to do that. And maybe this could be a possibility, especially for other sites using a Zoic. I could see why we wouldn't want to do that as well, or if that might not be ethical without given consent. But that is definitely something that we can look into. So if you guys have anything else you guys want in terms of features for products, this is a good time to do it because quite literally right after this, I'm just going to go over and give all the feedback and all the ideas directly to the team and the engineers. So if you guys want a feature, if you don't like how something works, or if you want anything at all, now is a good time to tell me because I can just go out and speak it directly into their ear. Okay, so this is another one for Niche IQ. Rank tracking is very useful. I know Niche IQ has some sort of that, which we do, but it's different in presentation and usability. So there's a lot of room for improvement there. Competitor analysis is also key. So it sounds like Johnny and Tales from the collection also agree on that. But I would also agree that tracking your ranking previous and maybe where your future could be would be really, really important. I think that's an essential part of any business is like kind of getting your estimated revenue or estimated earnings, kind of moving forward. So that definitely sounds like something we could definitely work on. Competitor analysis. Gotcha. And lastly, I just wanted to also add right. Okay, cool. Sorry about that. Just wanted to write those things down so that way I could actually, provide useful feedback to them. Hi, Charlie. Good to see you again. Good to see you too. I know it's been a little bit, but I'm happy to have you back here, and I hope all is well with you. Hi, Charlie. Good to see you again. I've been using Humix for a long time, but no idea where the income is going. I've never seen anything related to my Humix earnings and Azoic payouts. I'm assuming they're going to say, am I missing something? Oh, am I missing something? Yeah, that is what they said. So U Sports, I'm trying to remember your domain name. I can take a look at it right now. That doesn't mean I have to share my screen. But I would love to take a quick look for you because sometimes we found that the actual, um, what's the word I'm trying to looking for? The actual competitiveness, if I say so, in Humix has actually grown a lot recently. That also means the demand for it has also grown, which is a good thing. So maybe if you had a video performing really well, and it's not performing as well, maybe there's a competitor or another site that actually put out really high quality video that could be taking some of the traffic. If you're asking, why aren't your Humix earnings showing in your total payout, that's definitely something we want to look into because it will be integrated with your current payouts. You guys don't have to do anything with your Humix earnings. I'm trying to remember your domain name. I don't know why I forget it. I can't find it, but I'll be more than happy to look into that. But yeah, all your Humix earnings and payouts will just be integrated in your normal payouts. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to request earnings. You don't have to earn a minimum amount or anything like that. But yeah, I'll be more than happy to look into that. Again, you can always just reach out to my email here, and I can take a look into your dashboard from there. That way, you don't have to share anything publicly here. Can I use the Zug Premium without an invitation because I want to use it? So you actually need to get invited to the premium platform in order to do this. If you really wanted to get on premium, we could probably make this happen. Again, what I would suggest you do for me, Raman, is just reach out to my email here and ask if that's a possibility, or if you guys, if you guys want to be on premium, and if anyone else here, just reach out to my email, and again, I'll be happy to see if I can make that work for you guys. Usports HD. Okay, you're gonna email me your domain. I don't know why I forget it. Um, I know there's a lot we work on, but I feel like I have a pretty good memory of these things. AJ, so my page speed is very low. So this is something that I could also talk about if you guys want me to. Without your specific domain, I can talk about how to troubleshoot this and if it really is. Are we talking core web vitals? Are we talking cache? Are we talking, your time interactive? Are we talking about server response time? Any more information on that would be great. But if not, I can go through kind of how to troubleshoot site speed using another domain. I find that Flickify is not very good at summarizing my articles. So that is great feedback, and that is something I can bring to the team, which I will. Does it not segment them correctly in paragraphs? Does it not make sense sequentially, or does it not take all the information? Are you like Stuart? Can I get any more information on that? Like, is it for shorter articles? Is it for longer articles? Is it for all of them? Stuart, if you also don't want to respond, that's totally fine. What if you could just send me an email of maybe what, like, what isn't working or what is working or what exactly is not being summarized well, because we do have the new voiceover now. So if you don't like the way it's being summarized, you can use that talk to text, and then we can convert your voice into text, which will then convert into slides for your video. um, cool. Does Zoic allow sites that only use AI content from ChatGPT don't think you answered that. So I think Google answered this because that's technically the answer we would go off of, considering we are a Google partner and we want to abide by all the policies they set. And Google actually said that it's okay to have fully AI content. Google kind of took a step back and said, well, what's the basis for answering that question? They're saying, well, is the user getting useful information that is answering their question? And if that is a yes, then absolutely. I don't think there's a reason why AI content shouldn't be able to rank and shouldn't be able to, do really well and earn money because, you're going to have to give the AI a prompt. You're going to have to kind of feed it this perspective. You're going to have to feed it this idea. ChatGPT or this AI generated content will then be spit out to you. And let's say I was a user and CX Nation has a website on whatever. Let's say, CX Nation has a site on pet animals or pet information. I'll say, can my dog eat onions? And CX Nation has a fully AI written content covering exactly that, answering my question, providing more insight, maybe giving a use case. Then why wouldn't it be able to show on a Zoic, or why wouldn't it be able to show on Google? Because my question is being answered. I'm still getting my answer correctly. So yeah, I don't think that should be an issue. But Google did also say that they will still always prioritize original content over fully AI content. So I will say that ChatGPT is such a good tool for creating outlines, spitting out ideas, getting words onto a page, doing metadata for you, creating tags for you, creating titles for you. You can do basically everything for you, but I still think it's best to take, the outline or the first draft of whatever ChatGPT spits out, rework it into your own words. One thing that I've been doing that's been actually working pretty well is, let's say I ask ChatGPT to write me an article for my domain. I'll say, write me an article on how to change the oil of a 2020 BMW, blah, blah, blah. If once it spits out that article, I will sit there at my desk and I just read what it said out loud. Like I will literally say, first step to do this is to da 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 da. And once you actually read that out loud, you can kind of find the ways, you can find the areas. Sorry, I'm just forgot to mute my computer. Once you read it out loud, that's when you actually find where the AI can kind of lack and where things don't sound clear. It might not sound as intuitive as it should. That was something that I actually, that was actually something that an English professor in college taught me. He was like, you always write your first draft, just get words down, maybe make a second, but you always should read every single edit out loud. And that's actually saved me a couple times because ChatGPT can write a really good article and I might skim through and look, hey, this looks great. But then in conclusion, it might wrap up your entire thesis, your entire answer, and like a completely wrong spinoff. So again, I will always say, yes, it's allowed, and yes, you should use it. You absolutely should use it. You should use it. Let's be clear with that. You should definitely use it. But you should always double check, A, if it's factual, B, if it sounds good, and C, you should always add to it so it's it's still original, it's still your own words, because that's something that the AI will never be able to do. I know we've talked about this in the past, and I'll say it again. AI cannot create an original thought. That's something that's only that can only pertain to you. Another good perspective when you are writing AI content is to talk about empirical evidence. So that's evidence that you've actually experienced yourself. So if I'm writing about, again, I'm going to say cars because I love car sites. Let's say if I was talking about the driving experience of a Suburban, like this big 4-wheel drive car, and I ask the AI to write it, it might say, yeah, I've had really good 4x4 traction and the suspension is really good, blah, 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 blah. But I could say, hey, during X, Y, and Z scenario, this is how the car reacted, blah, blah, blah. I'm going down a rabbit hole. What I'm trying to say is always read the AI content out loud, always make edits, make it original, but definitely use it. That was probably too long of an answer, and I apologize for that. Stuart emailed me. Beautiful. Thank you for that. GY asks, is there a way to find these core issues are? For example, I want to find and remove add this. I use it through 50 files and pages. I need a way to find the code by line and file. I'm curious what these core issues you're talking about. Are you talking about in Leap, or are you talking about the Google algorithm update? Because if you're talking about the Google algorithm update, we never really get insight to that. I really wish that'd be super cool. But if you're talking about Leap and it flagging core technology, if that was your question, you can do that in Leap. So I can actually show you guys really quick. Sorry, let me just pull this up. Hang in there with me for a second. So what you can actually do is you can grab URLs from your page, and let's say we're talking about Leap and us flagging technology that you should be fixing. You can actually go through and grab a URL. And then what you can do is just go ahead and paste it into Leap. Let me pull up my screen for this really quick. So what I first did, I just went to this site and I grabbed a URL specifically. Let me share my screen. That might help. So what I did was I just went to this domain, grabbed a URL. Oh, I'm only sharing the screen. But let me go back to the home page so you guys can see. So I'm going to go into Leap, and then I'm going to go into Lab, and I'm going to take that URL I just grabbed. I'm going to paste it there and hit Analyze. What this will do, this will flag basically everything in terms of Core Web Vitals on the page. But then it'll also go over things like time interactive, server response time, all the different technologies coming into play. It'll tell you what what features you should enable to improve things. It'll tell you, kind of why and how the page is performing and kind of the direction to go to improve it. So if that was the direction of your question, this is one way you could do it. If I also totally missed the ball on that, let me know. But another good tip that I actually learned recently, guys, while this loads, I kind of want to show a different screen. And maybe this is something that you guys have all known, and then you guys like, duh, of course, Charlie, we've known this forever. So if you're actually like just looking at one of your pages and you want, and if you're not sure whether Leap is displaying accurate Core Web Vital data, which it does because it comes from real users, of course, you can actually right click and inspect the page. Can you guys see that or no? You guys can't see if I inspect the page. Hold on, let me share my screen a different way. Cool. Now you can see it. So let me take a step back. You can right click, you can inspect. Actually, let me remember if I don't remember if I know how to do this. I'm pretty sure we go to network request blocking. No, network conditions. No. Console? No. What the heck? Where? I could have sworn. Oh, here we go. Okay, so sorry. Take a step back. Right click inspect the page. Go to rendering over here on the far right. See how it says rendering? And then what you can do is you can click Core Web Vitals, and it'll actually display your Core Web Vitals accurately directly as they come from Google. So LCP, FID, and CLS are all displaying here. 0.9, 2 milliseconds for FID, 0.0 for CLS. The CLS and LCP are both really good because the cache is super strong on the page. And then if I reload it, you guys can see those again. FID is not loading yet, which is weird, but so that one was 9 milliseconds. So yeah, that's another way you guys can get accurate core web vital information. We can see that. So you can analyze the page here. I'm curious why I was giving this representation, because we just saw on the actual page was a bit faster. But that's why utilizing Leap is so effective, because the actual scores that it'll give you will be a representative of what your users are seeing, because Leap uses real user data. But when I use the lab test, it only takes a lab type scan of the page, so it's not representative exactly of what a real user is seeing. But you guys can see that it gives you your areas for improvement. It tells you exactly where things are kind of taking a hit, producing JavaScript, enormous network payloads, and text compression as well. So hopefully that answers your question. If not, I'm sorry. But yeah, we can let's just go back to here. Let's see where we're going with this. Let me also check my email. Johnny and also U Sports. Did you guys want me to pull up your domain, or did you want me to just tackle that after and talk about it? Talk about it then. But for now, I'll wait for that answer. I got Ramen's email, but I didn't get another one. For Flickify, when I make a video from an article, media from the article is imported. It would be nice to be able to bulk import all of my images site-wide. So, that's actually, is that not a feature already? But if not, I think that's a really good idea. That's a really, really good idea, actually. And if it's not a thing, let's make it one. So that's a great idea. That's a great feature request. And I'm pretty sure you can actually go through and just add media from your domain, but you would have to do like a click and drag or a click and save type deal. So I think just bulk uploading it from your entire domain would be super beneficial. How's your car site? Is it on a Zoic already? So, well, yes, it's on a Zoic, but I actually haven't published any of my articles or files yet, because I kind of just want to build it up to basically, 30 articles minimum, and then go from there. The good thing is I do have about 15 to 20 articles so far. It's not on a Zoic already. I have the domain name, and I have basically a lot of the media saved up in terms of videos and pictures. I'm kind of just waiting to do like a hard launch, if that makes sense. Um, but yeah, I've been working on it for quite a while, so I'm pretty excited. Pretty excited to do that. I was in AdSense before integration, but after integration, all of my websites' Core Web Vitals score goes down. It is confusing because the Zoic promises increased Core Web Vitals and overall site's performance. So the important thing to do is right when you well, you actually sent me your domain, so I won't share my screen, but I can at least take a quick look and see what's going on here. But the important thing is right when you transfer over to a Zoic, the first things you should be doing is setting up your Leap and actually dialing in your cache. So that way, when you do increase cache, your site speed takes little to no hit at all, because we can increase core vitals using Leap. And just taking a quick look at it really right now. So your LCP scores are actually great. I mean, they're both 75, so they're both orange, but they're close to green. But your FID and CLS for both mobile and desktop are both green. Or excuse me, CLS for desktop is actually orange. But the scores do look good. And then again, like I said before, your cache hit rate, that looks really good. But let's say, for example, I want to actually see what's going on and why it is. I can go through and click. So it looks like you're not using that many technologies that are hurting site speed. I can go through and check out LCP by page. they're actually scoring really well. Page loaded fast for me, but then again, let's go to the rendering and actually check out your core vitals from the actual page itself, because they're actually reporting really well on Leap. They're reporting really well on page speed insights, and they're actually reporting really well when I check out their rendering when inspecting the page as well. So yeah, it actually looks great. Cache is high, your scores are high, the page is loading quick, and everything looks great from there. So yeah, I definitely didn't see the scores go down. But again, we can take a deeper look into this because there are definitely improvements to still be made here. Um, especially in terms of some of the features you have turned on or not. You have preload background images turned off and set explicit width and height off in Leap. Those are two things that'll definitely help LCP, which is taking a hit on both mobile and desktop, not by much, but again, that's one it's a very easy fix that we can implement right now. Hayden says, sorry, I just came back. Is it possible still? Please go through my domain on screen and look at my EPMB. So yes, I can actually do that, Hayden. I just don't know your domain, so I can't share it and kind of go through your LCP. But yeah, I would definitely do that if I could. Um, So Val, yeah, I can do that for you as well. Just send me a quick email and I can go through and I can actually configure that for you so your users can see, or your logged in users can see that. And Hayden said he emailed me my domain. Hayden, I just got it. Cool. So before I go into the rest of the AI stuff, which I did kind of want to shift gears to that now, let's go through Haydens Site really quick and just kind of check things out. So if you guys are ever curious about, why EPMB is X, Y, and Z, this is kind of how I'll normally go through that process. Let me just pull it up. Respect247 says, hi, sir. How are you, Respect? Okay, sorry, I'm just pulling this up still. Cool. So even if I don't pull any hard evidence out of this, because sometimes it can take a bit, I want you to just kind of bear with me and go through here. Okay. Cash looks great. These things look great. I see no mediation earnings. That's fine. So the first thing I want to go through is just to see what your actual settings and configuration is. I only see you have two placeholders here, which is my first inclination is that that's going to be a major issue. But if you have AI ads, that might be okay. You have native ads on, vignettes are on. That's beautiful. AI is on, so are enhanced. Great. Anchor, beautiful. Side rails. So this looks great. Those are all great. Let's see AdSense mediation. You've linked your account. Mediation is set up. Import data. Let's see if you have any ad restrictions. So this is just usually what I do to get a good idea of maybe what you have set up. So you have no ads showing on your home page. That's what this is saying. We're going to block all ads from showing on this page, and just the backslash here means that's on the home page. So that's not a bad practice at all, but I will say that adding maybe a bottom of the page floating on your home page and the top of the page only won't hurt user experience, but can actually bring up EPMB and earnings a lot. That might be a good avenue. My story and contact, those are both blocked off. That's totally fine. That makes total sense. There's nothing there. No ad restrictions, no ad blockers, no violations. no objectionable content. That's beautiful. Optimization goals are revenue focused. I would actually recommend putting this to balanced, believe it or not. Um, I think it just does a really good job of balancing both the user experience and revenue, which can kind of come hand in hand sometimes. Um, but again, that's 100% up to you. We're sending 100% traffic to a Zoic. Okay. So now I have a good idea of kind of at least the configuration. The next thing I'll do is I'll actually go through the analytics here. Engagement looks really good. Page views looks really good. The traffic looks really healthy. Um, the EPMV definitely looks low. So I'm curious to see where your traffic is coming from. So I meant to do by location. So most of it is from the United Kingdom, which is surprising because that doesn't make sense why the EPMV is so low. I want to grab a bigger chunk of time here. Yeah, so this is definitely interesting why there's a $2 APMV, even for like US traffic that, that doesn't make a ton of sense here. So, well, this looks great. Um, so, oh, okay, so this is something I'm just noticing. So this is actually something I definitely want to get fixed. So this side rail is actually being blocked by the main content here due to the Z index of the page. So what we actually need to do is we need to configure this side rail to make sure that it's showing up on top of the page here. And then the other thing we want to this is my other thing that I also could be considering is because this is kind of like a shocking article, dead bodies on Mount Everest, that might not be the most enticing thing for advertisers to kind of bid on. But it does look like you still have some high quality bids. K1, Lowe's, Endorse, Go Kart Racing, Ulta. So these are still good. I noticed that this video is not playing. Curious why that is. But the ad setup looks pretty solid here. Of course, I want to go through it some more. But the first thing I noticed that we definitely want to get fixed is this floating, this side rail ad, and then maybe also adding a sidebar ad to here. Hayden, would it be okay to make changes to your placeholder setup? Is that all right with you? Just let me know, and then we can go from there. How to fix the side rail? I believe this feature is available to you guys because this is actually something I flagged with the tech team recently. Gosh, where was it? There should be a Z index toggle right here. I don't know where it went. I'm going to write this down so I don't forget. Hayden, I will not forget to do this. But what I'm going to have to just do is I'm going to have to go through and check out some of the CSS rules you've set, and just make sure that that side rail will now appear on top of the content, because when it does go down, that's definitely a big issue. Hayden said it was okay to make some changes. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to go through and check out all the locations that he has and see where we can improve on things. Because, for example, one of the things I noticed is that that top of the page placeholder that he had was actually showing kind of above the main here. It was kind of pulling the menu down. So what I'm actually going to do is, oops, that's not where we want to add it. I want to add another top of the page one right here. No, not there. No, not there. Let's see. It's making the page look weird, but I think this should be fine. Or maybe I just that was not the right fix. That did not work. Cool. as you guys can see, sometimes it takes just a little bit of trial and error to figure out the best spot, because not every website is built the same, which is why sometimes it can be hard to find like a universal best spot. Let's just do it for here for now, for this page specifically. So I'm just going to add another top of the page here. So now you technically have two top of the page placeholders. You have one that's up here, which I believe is an AI placeholder, and you have another one showing here. But because you have two top of the page placeholders, that does not mean that two ads will show there. What it just means is that our AI will now have two locations to test, so it'll only show one ad per visit in one of those two locations. It won't show two in both of those locations. So adding a second top of the page placeholder is actually a great practice. Again, because it doesn't mean more ads will show, it just means there's another variable for our AI to test. Because if this placeholder below the menu right here performs really well and doesn't hurt user experience, then it's going to continue to test this location and not the other one. So that way you'll be earning more. Sorry, got a little distracted. It does not mean that both of them will show, but it will put you in the best spot to earn and perform better. I'm definitely going to add a sidebar top here because this is just a great, really high performing location. I'm going to turn it off for mobile because mobile doesn't have a sidebar or doesn't have a sidebar. And then I'm going to do sidebar top. And then you do have two sidebar ones, which is totally fine. But I just wanted to check out the rest of the page. It does look really healthy. So yeah, we did have a recent bug that was kind of resetting the cache for some of ad testers data. So what I actually want to do, which I can't show on here, I'll actually have to go into the back end and check things out from there. But that actually might be my inclination here, because for US traffic and things like that, this actually looks super solid. This looks like it's a really good setup. So yeah, this will probably just take a good bit of more of digging into. So there's nothing straight off the bat that I'm like, oh, this looks, this is an obvious answer. It never really is that obvious of an answer. But we definitely want to go through and just make sure that we do get this fixed, because EPMB for sure looks a bit low. So Umar, that's a good question. They asked, hey Charlie, since when I started using a Zug, my site has been on revenue focused. If I change it to balanced now, could that have an effect on my earnings? So yeah, it could. It won't be super, it won't be terribly negative or anything like that. But I would switch it to balanced. I think there are certain times of the year where this might actually perform better. For instance, times around like Black Friday, because everyone's kind of advertising, everyone's kind of seeing more advertisements, so that might be a better time of year to do that. But yeah, I'll probably switch it to balanced to be safe and to be smart. And yeah, it might have a small impact on revenue, but it might not, and it might even have a positive impact on revenue. So yeah, the only thing is like, kind of shocking content, death on that. But yeah, this should definitely have a higher EPMB here. Maybe because it's targeting like Nepali type stuff or Nepal. But yeah, we can definitely look into this a bit more. Again, see, it's not always clear cut of an answer, but that is kind of, you know, kind of how things pass. That's normally how I will do an initial EPMB deep dive and then kind of go from there. But let's use let's use ChatGPT for a couple things. So let's just ask ChatGPT, because we want to talk about how AI can help us in the publishing world. And I think, ChatGPT is probably the #1 tool that we can use. So let's just ask it. Let's see if it can answer for me. How can you help me improve SEO for my website? Oops. Let's do this again. But yeah, I wanted to talk about ad tester again because that was the kind of the layup why I wanted to show you guys, adding a second top of the page placeholder there. But because I added a second top of the page placeholder on Hayden's website, again, that does not mean that more ads will show. It just means there's more variables for our AI to test, which brings me to the idea that um, Zoic's ad tester is already an AI that you guys are all utilizing on your website. Our ad tester is artificial intelligence that will find the best locations, the best sizes, and the best layout of ads in order to maintain the best user experience, which will create more engagement with your pages, which will create more revenue. So that's one of the massive ways that you can, when you use AI, you are setting yourself above the competition. Back in the day, people used to do, A/B type testing for ad layouts. Let's say, hey, let's try top of the page here and blah, blah, blah. Let's try this layout. Let's try that for maybe like a week or two. And then let's switch out the layout and then let's run, maybe this ad layout. And then, we can kind of compare data from there. Well, instead of running simple A/B tests, for weeks time, which is incredibly slow and isn't very easy to do. You can now just use, our ad tester, which will use like multivariate testing. It'll test thousands upon hundreds of thousands of variations between your users. And not only that, we'll find the data that works best for each user and then kind of go from there and say, hey, this user has X, Y, and Z criteria. This will be the best layout. That user will have the best experience. They'll engage with your page more and you'll earn more money. So it's a win-win. So right off the bat, keyword research. That's awesome. Use tools like, it's also saying, you can use tools like Planner, Ahrefs, SEMrush for competitive things, on-page optimization, optimize your website content for the selected keywords. This includes optimize your page titles, meta descriptions, header tags, and content. Technical SEO, ensure your website is technically sound and free of any technical issues. This includes optimizing your website's loading speed, mobile friendliness, and security. I'm actually just kind of curious really quick. I want to grab an article. And this is more of a test right now, but I want to just grab an article really quick and see if I can give it a URL and say, hey, can you tell me where to improve on my SEO efforts for this page? This is more just, I'm curious if this will work. I'm going to put the URL here and see what happens. So link building, build high quality backlinks to your website from relevant to and authoritative sources. This can improve your website's domain authority and increase your visibility in search results. So as you guys can tell, it can do a lot for you right off the bat. Another really good technology you guys should all be using, which I don't see used enough, honestly, is our title tag tester. So what this will basically do is, let's say I have a car site and I'm doing BMW oil change. What I can do is I can actually ask ChatGPT for a couple potential titles to actually use. What I can then do is I can go into our title tag tester and then I can insert those titles into that. And what the title tag tester will basically do is it'll test a few of those different titles that you add to it and find out which works best in terms of rankings and so forth. And so what that will do is we'll say, hey, we ran a test for a large sample of your audience. We found that this title actually works best. So we'll continue to use that title in order for you to perform better and increase your traffic. So this is pretty cool. So yeah, the two ways you're already utilizing Zoic in terms of utilizing our AI, title tester, ad tester. Those are two things that will 100% set you above the competition without a doubt. So this is pretty cool. Certainly, here are some areas where you can improve your SEO efforts for this page, and it took the page that I just sent them. Keyword optimization. It appears that the page is targeting the keywords inlets NJ. However, the keyword is not used in the page title tag, meta description, or heading tags. Adding the target keyword to these areas can help improve the page's relevancy for the target keyword. Number two, content quality and length. The page's content is quite short and could benefit from more descriptive and more informational text about the inlets in New Jersey. Aim for at least 300 to 500 words of unique and informative content that includes the target keyword in a natural and useful way. Do they only use a few words? Yeah, as you guys can see, I didn't realize how short this article was, but that's a pretty accurate analysis, to be completely blunt. Image optimization. The page includes several images, but they are not optimized for SEO. Adding descriptive alt tags to the images can help search engines understand the content of the images and improve the page's overall relevance. That's really cool. Internal linking. The page does not include any internal links to other pages on your website. Adding internal links can help improve your website's overall structure and can also help keep visitors on your site longer. Lastly, backlinks. While not directly related to on-page SEO, building high-quality backlinks to the page can improve its authority and relevance. You can consider reaching out to other relevant websites and ask them to link to your page. So as you guys can see, this is another really cool way where you can actually, use AI to help, with your publishing world. ChatGPT is pretty incredible, and this is not even ChatGPT 4. If you guys have used that, I'm curious what your guys' experiences are. I've seen it do where people are basically taking hand-drawn website layouts and it's basically coding and building a site for them, it's building tools for them. But yeah, super cool stuff for there. So there's a lot of ways we should be utilizing AI. We can do image creation through AI. We can do video creation through AI. Yeah, a lot of really, really impressive stuff. Respect said, sorry I didn't follow the instructions. Please, I need ads on my community website. So whatever that website is you need ads for, I think this will take a little bit of troubleshooting because I'm not sure exactly what the domain is or what the current status of it is. So what I will need you to do for me, respect 247, is to just post this in a thread here in the community, or what you can do is you can just send me an email personally. Question on cache. I know there is a way to target a folder, but is there a way to target a specific word in a URL? I use a lot of parameters. I want to target URLs with the word location. So I'm not sure actually. I didn't know you could target a folder or a word in a URL for cache. Yeah, I'm a little lost on that one, to be honest. But for caching, we can set up, or you can set up automatic caching. It's pretty simple and straightforward. All you'll need to do is to download the Ezoic WordPress plugin. What you'll do from there is you'll go to the CDN tab of the Ezoic plugin. You'll find the API text box, and it'll say find your API key here. You click on here, it'll take you to the dashboard where your API key lives. You can copy that API key and actually paste it into that text box there. What that does, well, that'll basically link up your site with our API. And then from there, what you can do is you can simply press enable automatic caching, and then you'll be all set from there. Cool. All right, well, I kind of wanted to talk about, I did talk about AI a little bit. I wanted to talk about a little bit more, but there was a lot of good questions coming through, so that's kind of the direction I wanted to go in. If you guys have any more questions, please feel free to ask them. I'll be more than happy to go through those right now. So that's actually a really good question, Hayden. I know Google values unique images and photos on a website. How do you think Google will evaluate AI-generated images on a website in terms of high value and uniqueness? That's a really good question. I think we're going to find out here in the next core Google update that's happening in March, or if it just happened or if it's currently happening. That might be something that they're targeting. If they're saying, hey, we're finding a lot of websites use AI generated web or photos. We don't like that, blah, blah, blah. Maybe that's part of the update. I don't have a good enough answer for you, especially an accurate one. I could always give my personal analysis of what I might think is going to happen. But I'm not sure what Google might think of that in terms of images. It's a great question. I'm definitely going to write that down so I can, maybe do some research and see if anyone else has any, empirical evidence on this. That's a great question to ask. But yeah, if you guys have any other questions, feel free to ask them. If not, we're gonna wrap this one up, this live stream up. I do appreciate you guys all coming in and joining. I really, really do. I love having you guys in here. I love having the opportunity to just like build a connection with you guys. Say, hey, look, I'm a real person. I'm gonna do whatever it takes for you guys to succeed. So yeah, if you guys need anything at all, please just reach out to the community right here. Or honestly, you guys can always just send me an email and I can, help troubleshoot really quick and then always send you to the community after if needed. But yeah, reach out to my email as well. I always want you guys to be taken care of and have someone to reach out to if you need something urgent. I do check my email on the weekends normally, just to stay on top of things, make sure nothing's urgent. But again, thank you guys so much for joining. I hope you guys have a really great weekend. Um, you know, get outside if you can. Hopefully it doesn't rain over in the UK like you guys were saying earlier. Hopefully it's not raining wherever you guys are. If you guys can get outside, do it. Work on your websites, use AI. Again, it's nothing to be scared of. It's just, it's going to make us better and more productive humans. So, I think it's best to just figure out how to use it and then go from there. But yeah, you know, again, thank you guys so much for joining. I'll see you next weekend, or I'll see you next week. We'll have some exciting things to cover then. Probably a little bit more freelance and less question oriented. But I really appreciate you guys joining. I really do. I cannot say it enough. Enjoy the weekend. Stay safe. Stay happy. Love you guys.